Hello, and welcome to another segment of Smoke Signals. I'm your host for today's show, Lieutenant Chris Taylor from the LaGrange Fire Department. Today, we're on site at Air Evac here in LaGrange, Georgia, which is our air ambulance service. Today, I have with me Missy Welburn, who is the membership manager for Air Evac. Hello, Missy, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing great. First of all, we want to thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come out and shoot a segment of Smoke Signals here at your location. And it's always great to come out and have this partnership. I know we had an opportunity to do a show with you all early in the year, and so now we got another show that we'd like to share with the community. But before we get into that, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement here with Air Evac.
Well, I'm the membership manager here at Air Evac 77. My background is I was a 911 dispatcher here in Troup County for almost 10 years, and that's how I came to know about Air Evac and the services they provide our community.
Right, that's great. It's good to know that, and of course we thank you for your services as being a 911 dispatcher as well. All right, now kind of tell us a little bit about what we're in store for today as far as who you have lined up for us to talk to.
Well, today I have one of our flight crew nurses, which is Deborah Carter. I also have a flight paramedic, Alan McCready. And first, we're going to let you talk to our pilot, Jim Fussell.
Okay, great deal. All right, now, just a couple questions we want to ask you. What are some of the type of services that are provided by Air Evac?
Well, we are an air ambulance service. Basically, if there's a trauma, such as a vehicle overturned or a fall from a high place, any type of trauma that local fire and EMS think need to be flown to a higher level of care, a trauma center, like a level 1 or level 2, they call us and utilize our services in that instance.
Okay, now what is the mile radius that you all provide services, and what are the counties that are generally covered?
Okay, well, we cover a 70 nautical mile radius. The counties surrounding Troup County, Meriwether, Harris, Heard, Randolph, Lee, Muskogee, even up into Carrollton, Coweta, and further out into Alabama and South Georgia. Those are typically our service areas that we service. Okay,
and what have been some of the partnerships that you all have established since being in LaGrange?
Well, here locally we work closely with the City of LaGrange Fire Department, Police Department, the Troup County Volunteer Fire Department, and the fire department itself, and the local EMS are crucial when it comes to patient care and assisting us with that.
Okay, and you can't say it enough, when it comes to partnerships, you know, you can't do it yourself, and you have to rely on other agencies to provide the services that need to be handled on the ground, so that you all can do what needs to be done from the air.
That's also, and we also don't want to leave out West Georgia Medical Center. They're one of our, we have partnered up with them and we work together all the time. Okay,
great. Now, since being in LaGrange, what have been some of the advantages, first of all, being here in LaGrange and also being based near the airport?
Well, one of the advantages of being in LaGrange is we are very close to the people that need us. In Troup County, we're at 1 hour, typically by ground, to Columbus or Atlanta, your nearest trauma center. We can get you there in about 20 minutes or less to Columbus and a little less than 30 to Atlanta. Being at the airport, we have access to 24-hour weather, which is crucial when it comes to flying. Also, we're in a secure location, and we're just glad to be in Troup County and service in the area.
All right, and of course, by being here in Troup County, originally this base was out of Columbus. And because of the call volume, now you're in LaGrange and you're providing a quicker service. And not only for LaGrange, but for the surrounding areas.
Our flight time out of Columbus was 18 to 20 minutes, and here we can get to scene flights in Troup County within sometimes 5 to 6, as we were talking about.
Okay, great. And we want to thank you for sharing that information. And when we come back, we're going to actually talk to the pilot and talk about his day here at Air Evac. Welcome back. Today we have with us Jim Fussell, the flight pilot for Air Evac. Hello, Mr. Fussell, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show today and be able to talk to us about your responsibilities as a pilot for Air Evac. But before we get into that, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been a pilot?
Sure. I started flying in 1966.
Okay.
Which was 46 years ago.
Wow, a lot of experience.
No, I don't look that old. But started off flying airplanes, then went to helicopters in the Army,
Okay.
and then switched to the Air Force and flew fighters for 18 years in the Air Force, retired, and went back to flying helicopters after I retired.
Okay.
And I've been flying EMS for about 6 years now.
Okay. Well, we appreciate the services that you provided to our country over
thank
those
you.
many years, and I know you wouldn't be doing this now if you didn't enjoy it.
No, this is probably the most rewarding job I've ever had.
Well, that's
because
good.
you know you're doing something that's worthwhile.
Right. Exactly. All right. Now, just a couple questions I have for you. First thing I want to ask you, can you tell me what steps are taken just on a daily basis that you go through to get your day started?
Sure. When we get up, we change shifts at 6:30 in the morning and 6:30 in the evening. We have a day pilot and a night pilot.
Okay.
We work 7-day hitch, and then we're off for 7 days, and we come back and we swap from days to nights. So a typical day starts, I get up, go get a cup of coffee, check the weather.
Right. Which is very important.
Extremely important, because if we don't have the weather, you can't fly.
Okay.
And you need to know where you can go. For instance, we might be able to go to Columbus, but not go to Atlanta. Or we might be able to go to Atlanta, but not Columbus.
Right.
Or Birmingham, or somewhere like that. So it's critical that you know what the weather is, not only what it is doing now, but what it's going to do in 3 hours from now.
Right. Exactly.
So that's a continual process through the day, continually updating the weather.
Right.
The other things we then do is check the aircraft status from the night before. And I come out to the aircraft and pre-flight the aircraft.
Okay.
It's just a standard Bell helicopter pre-flight.
Right.
Nothing exceptional about that, just a standard pre-flight. Checking everything on the aircraft.
All right.
And then I sign in with the company so they know that we're on status.
Okay.
I call and establish communication with them, and that's the way the day starts. So that's about a 30-minute process in the morning
Okay.
and in the evening if you're on the night shift.
Right, and that's, you said an important thing there, the pre-flight requirements, because that preventive maintenance that you have to do, because like
Absolutely.
I said, this is an aircraft, and make no mistake about it, you have to make sure that it is in tip-top condition and it is all the bells and whistles are working.
Oh yes.
So that you don't run into a situation down the road.
Exactly, and that's why we do a pre-flight every day. In fact, every shift, so that we know the condition of it, know what's happening to it, whether, if anything is wrong, what's wrong, and what we need to do about it to get it fixed.
Okay.
Which we have our own mechanic, so that's not, very seldom is that an issue
Right.
of maintenance problems.
Okay.
They do come up. It's a piece of machinery and things do go wrong. So,
Right.
But we have the capacity to get it repaired in fairly short order.
Okay. Now, if something happens, and let's say, for instance, you got a real critical problem wrong with the aircraft, do you have a backup aircraft that you could actually use, or do you contact another
Not
base?
here. We have other bases.
Okay.
We have a base in Wetumpka, Alabama. 5 other bases in east and southeast Georgia. So if we go down for maintenance, then one of them, the next closest bird would be secondary. They'd pick up our calls.
Okay.
Just like if one of them goes down, we may pick their calls up.
Right.
And like I said, we do have our own maintenance, so very seldom do we ever go down for more than just a few hours,
Okay.
if we do go down.
All right.
And it's been weeks since we've gone down for maintenance.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing to know.
Yeah.
Now, when you get a call, all right, what procedures do you take during that time?
The first thing that happens is our dispatch calls us and lets us know that we have a call, what kind of a call it is, whether it's a scene call, and if it is a scene, what kind of, is it a car wreck, is it a accident at somebody's house, what have you.
Right.
There's a myriad of things it could be.
Exactly.
And then a distance and a heading to the location where the local EMS is going to set a landing zone up, an LZ we call it.
Right.
We don't necessarily have coordinates at that time, but we'll have a distance and a heading from the base. As soon as we get out to the aircraft, which at that point, I give them the crew and the tail number, and we're done with that part. We come out to the aircraft. We start our starting procedures, med crew, which you're going to talk to them later, and they're going to go through what
Right.
their responsibilities are. But basically, it's a team effort to get us launched. During that time, I'll be talking to our dispatch, which we call CENTCOM,
Right.
Central Communication, and they will give me the coordinates, and I'll put them in our GPS.
Okay.
So when I launch, I'll not only have the distance and heading, but I'll have the GPS coordinates, so I have the exact distance and heading, and I can compare the two, see how close they were, which generally they're dead square on.
Right.
Then we launch, and that's it. We go to the scene or transfer or whatever the case may be.
Okay. All right. Now, one last question I want to ask you. For the general public, what are some of the safety measures that people need to be aware of when the helicopter is landing or when it's taking off?
Okay, well, first and foremost is the tail rotor.
Okay.
It's moving so fast, you literally cannot see it.
Right.
And people have walked into tail rotors, and they don't win when they walk into a tail rotor.
Right.
Of course, nobody wins that because the aircraft's down at that point.
Right.
But then they're down permanently, which is definitely not a good thing. We're already there picking up one person. Now we can't pick up anybody, and we got somebody else hurt.
Right.
So we don't want that. The other thing to consider is when we're coming into land and taking off, we're putting out one heck of a lot of wind. And it blowing dust and gravel and stuff like that. If you're standing too close to the aircraft, you can get dirt and debris in your face.
Right.
Generally speaking, though, the local fire department and the EMS people and policemen, they set up a good perimeter and they keep people back.
Okay.
That's why they're keeping people back, is for their safety.
Right.
Because it is very dangerous being around a running helicopter. Primarily because of the rotors and the tail rotors, and that in turn is what's blowing the dust
Right.
and dirt and other debris. This thing will put out 100 knots of wind.
Right. And that's a lot of
Which
wind.
that's a hurricane.
Yes, exactly.
If anybody's ever been in a hurricane, that's what being in the rotor wash of a helicopter is like.
Okay.
So please be careful about that.
Right. And something that we can always say and agree on, safety is always our number one
Absolutely.
priority.
If you're not safe, you're not getting the job done.
Exactly. All right.
So,
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate you sharing that information
thank you for
about
asking
the
me.
daily operations and your involvement as being a pilot. And we, like I said before, we appreciate the services that you provide.
well, we're glad to be here.
All right. And when we come back, we'll have more on smoke signals. Welcome back. Now we're going to be talking with the flight medic for Air Evac, Mr. Alan McCready. Hello, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
All right. It's good to have you on the show today, and we want to thank you all again for allowing us to come out and talk to you
Yes, sir.
about what your day-to-day operations are here at Air Evac. Before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role is at Air Evac?
Been a medic for 17 years. Been with Air Evac for 2.5, 5 years of flying total. I'm a critical care medic. My operations here is flying as a medic, doing outreach education,
Okay.
getting involved in the community, helping Missy out.
Okay.
Pretty much just staying out, staying busy, staying involved, and doing patient care, of course.
Okay. Now, you mentioned about outreach. Can you talk a little bit about some of the outreach programs that you participate in?
Yes, sir. We are involved in the ACLS PALS, which is Advanced Cardiac Life Support, Pediatric Life Support, Pre-Hospital Trauma. And we also have classes that we offer through Air Evac, which the local EMS fire department and hospital can get continuing education for.
Okay.
We have a whole list. They're all free. They just have to call and set up, and we have instructors that can go out and help with that.
Okay, good. And continuing education is always a great
Yes, sir.
resource to have, especially when it's free.
Of course, yes, sir. Of course, here in Georgia, just like with National Register, you got to have so many hours. So
Right.
this all helps out.
All right, now can you tell us a little bit about your involvement when it comes to patient care? When you go to an incident and you have a patient right here in your grasp, and just kind of take us through, what your procedures are.
If we do a scene call, pretty much, we go through the motions of landing on the scene, make sure everything is safe while we're there. We get in the back of the helicopter, we'll do an initial assessment. My nurse, she does all pretty much up to the abdomen, and I'll do from the head down, and talk to the medics or fire or EMS on the scene, and kind of get an idea of what's happened, what's going on, put our equipment on, load them on a stretcher, load them in the aircraft, and then from in here, we'll continue our further assessment, because we do sell speed, and time is pretty much a necessity a lot of times.
Right.
So the faster we can get to where we need to go to, the better off. There's no sense in waiting on the scene forever and a day unless we absolutely have to. Of course, there's certain situations that take longer than others.
Right.
Then we carry the ventilator, which pretty much the same thing the hospital does.
Okay.
And so we do that. We can take an airway if we have to and manage it. And we do carry a lot of the cardiac drugs.
Okay.
And it's just our biggest thing is speed. And we can do everything from trauma to strokes to cardiac patients to seizure patients to unknown medicals that are unresponsive to post-cardiac arrest.
Okay.
So we do everything, in between. If our biggest thing is you feel like that you need us and there's that necessity for us, then call us.
Okay. All right. And the biggest thing is making sure that you have a patient that is stabilized so that they can fly to
Yes,
a definitive care
Yes, sir.
facility.
And it's kind of a misnomer there as far as we know we find critical patients, and we understand that stabilization for us is a heartbeat. And they can't be in cardiac arrest. It's hard enough to do cardiac arrest on the ground, let alone in the air. So that's our biggest thing. Yes, we fly the most critical patients, the most pretty much unstable patients to a degree. As long as they have a heartbeat and they're breathing to some degree, we're going to take them, and we're going to take them to the most appropriate facility for us and for that patient.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate it, and
sir.
thank you for sharing that worth of information.
Yes, sir.
All
Thank
right.
you.
And when we come back, we're going to talk with the flight nurse here on Smoke. Welcome back. I have with me the flight nurse for Air Evac. This is Deborah Carter. Hello, Deborah, and welcome to the show.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role is here at ERVAC?
My name is Deborah Carter, and I'm a registered nurse. I have been with AirVac since March of 2011.
Okay.
And pretty much our roles are interchangeable. I work with the medic. We work hand in hand
Look at me.
to care for the patients.
Okay, good deal. And of course, we had an opportunity to talk with Alan earlier, and he talked a little bit about patient care, and pretty much, you all's role are interchangeable, but could you talk a little bit about some of the specialized equipment that you all may typically have to use that you have on the aircraft that you typically may not find on an ambulance or a fire apparatus?
Yes, well, on the aircraft, we do have a cardiac monitor, which most ambulance services have that.
Okay.
We also carry a ventilator. And we also have the capabilities to transport patients with multiple and critical medication drips.
Okay, and that's very important because you have a certain time frame to get to definitive care, and of course you can get there a lot quicker than taking someone ground transport.
Absolutely.
So being able to have all that equipment and necessities and resources is very critical to the survival rate of the patients that you all have in your care.
Absolutely, and we don't have to deal with traffic that could actually, transporting a patient could tie up an ambulance, so
Right.
we get to kind of avoid those obstacles.
Okay, all right, good. Now, let's talk a little bit about being in flight, okay? I can imagine that it can be very stressful on a typical day if you have a lot of calls that you are responding to, a lot of incidents. And it could be a situation where you may get to a hospital, you offload your patient, you do what necessary, paperwork needs to be done, and then before you can get in the air good, you're en route to another call.
Sure.
Kind of talk about, what is that like, and what type of stress that you typically may have to deal with before you actually get a chance to actually land.
Yeah, well, it can be very stressful. AirVac, our company, really encourages that we are hydrated. They encourage us to rest.
Okay.
We do have crew rest if we need that. We can call into our dispatch and let them know that we need some downtime.
Okay.
But we are very appreciative to our sending and receiving facilities as far as providing us if we need something to drink, snack, they will provide that with us.
Okay.
And a lot of times if we do land and we have been flying for several hours or just multiple calls, we will just take a break there at the hospital until everyone's ready to go again.
Okay. Now, I ask you this personally, what's been an average flight time that you've actually been on a helicopter for a long extended time before you actually got a chance to get a break?
Well, here in LaGrange, I've flown here in LaGrange since January. Our average, maybe about an hour and a half.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad.
Not too bad. No.
All right. Well, that's good. And what's important is to always making sure that you're physically and mentally ready to go for the
Absolutely.
next call, because you don't know what type of incident that you're going to have to respond to, nor what condition the patient is going to be in when you receive them.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you for being on the show and sharing that wealth of information.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll have more on smoke signals. Hello, we're back here with Missy Welburn, the membership manager for Air Evac.
It's my job to let people know that when this aircraft is utilized, it is about a $20,000 flight. What people typically don't know is that, you know, you don't have to be stuck with that bill. We offer a membership program, and our company has been offering this membership program for almost 28 years. And what a membership does for the member is if you are ever flown, if we ever have to fly you for a trauma, car accident, heart attack, stroke, for anything like that, if you don't have insurance and you're a member with us, you don't have a bill, no out-of-pocket expenses. If you have insurance, we'll bill your insurance, and what they pay, we accept as payment in full. And on average, insurance will pay 50 to, you might get 80%, but if you're a member, you don't have to worry about it. And memberships are based on household.
Okay.
It's very inexpensive. For one person in a house, it's 50. For two people, a couple, it's 55, and for three or more, so you can have unlimited in the house. It's no more than $60 for an entire year to be a member with us.
Okay, that's great.
And membership helps ensures, like I said, you don't get a bill. Plus it helps support Air Evac and keeps it in the community, so when it's needed, we are here.
Okay.
We want to be here to be the best part of the worst day of someone's life.
Right.
We're here to help save lives on the front end. On the back end, we don't want you to be financially, crippled with a bill. So
Right.
if you're a member, you don't have to worry about that.
All right. And is there information that the public can get information about the membership?
They can go to www.lifeteam.net, or they can contact me at 706-590-8498.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, and it's great information. And I encourage the public to go out and get that insurance. You never know when you might need it. Some people may get it and never have to be flown, but it's going to be definitely beneficial to them financially if they do get that insurance and take advantage of the membership that you all offer here.
We encourage everybody to do that.
All right. Well, good deal. And we like to thank all of our guests who were on the show today, and we'd like to thank you, our viewers, for watching another segment of Smoke Signals. Until next time, take care.